Sienna would look just like you, with a temper like you, run around like you, jumping in the pool like you. Oh my God, it is Friday already. What is up, everybody? Good afternoon in the afternoon. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It is your boy Beards&Gears, the one and only, the Arab man without a plan that hits you all the way from Afghanistan and back to Japan, baby. What is up, everybody? I got a very special episode for y'all today. Let me turn this way so I can stop looking at the TV, at the monitor. If you've been following this channel for some time, you would know that I have owned my E30 for the past 12 years. I bought this thing in 2014. I was 19 years old. I was stupid. And I saw this car from this dude. That was a terrible deal, but I had a vision in my head and I copped it. I could have probably gotten a much cleaner example at the time. But at that time, I had some people around me that kind of pushed me to get it. I had a friend at the time who told me you've always wanted to rebuild a car from scratch to finish. This is your opportunity to do so. And it ended up being one of the longest, most insanity-inducing, and most rewarding journeys of my entire life. And here are the 5 things I've taken away from that experience.
Oh, shit.
Number 1, embrace the learning curve. Dude, I bought my E30 with rusted out floor pans. Like this thing, I was Freddie Flintstoning it around town. I bought this thing with every kind of oil leaking out of it. I bought this thing with the roughest idle on the face of this earth. Like at a cold start, the thing ran like crap. It sounded like it was cammed. I think it was cammed, to be honest with you. But there was no way of telling because, like, I did replace all the vacuum lines, but the thing still ran really rough. And what kind of stopped me from ever, like, figuring out what was really going on with that original M20 was, number 1, my clutch blew. And then number 2, I looked underneath the intake manifold and saw wire nuts holding the entirety of the engine control harness, which is the engine wiring harness, basically, with wire nuts and black electrical tape. Once I saw that, and something came in front of me at that point in time, and I decided to swap the car. But the entirety of the beginning of that journey was rust. The entirety of the beginning of the car was literally, I dropped it off at some guy's shop that I knew, and he was supposed to repair the floor pans for me and some other things that were in the back towards the trunk, like the battery tray and the inner arch on the rear wheel well. And what was supposed to take like 4 months ended up taking almost a year and a half. And by the time I got the car back, I was kind of agitated. Got the work done for relatively cheap, especially for like labor costs at that time. But still, like, it kind of robbed some of the motivation away from me. And another thing was, everybody around me was doubting me. Everybody was saying I made the worst financial mistake of my life. Dude, like, I had my Arabic teacher, my dad's friends, my dad, my uncle, my aunts, like everybody that was around me, my dad's friends' kids, all of them were telling me about their experiences with cars. How they bought a car. Somebody bought an E46. Somebody bought an E36. Somebody bought a Honda Civic Type R. No, SI, not a Type R. Honda Civic SI. And they wanted to fix it, and they had all these ambitions. But they had this nagging monstrosity who would just pour this volcanic, toxic ash like the Godzilla of fatherhood onto their child's ambitions. In that process, when the kid would try to figure out how to work on the car, who was like a grown man by the time like he was having this conversation with me, the kid at the time would eventually give up. Dude, the amount of lectures I got for the first 7 years of car ownership was the biggest pain in my back bottom on the face of this earth. And that's why I say, like, embrace the learning curve, dude. You're going to learn a lot. Like, owning a project car, you will learn about how you end up stripping bolts, how to remove rusty bolts, how to remove bolts that you broke inside the threads, how to deal with rust, how to weld, when to weld, where to weld, what kind of oils you need to use, what's the best penetrance, what kind of sockets you need, what kind of wrenches you need, what are the good sockets, what are the bad sockets, how it feels when something begins to round out, electrical diagnostics, which is something I'm still working on because I looked at an engine wiring harness and I said, I'm not doing this. Let me get an M52. So you will learn, there's like this massive learning curve that you just have to embrace. I've been doing this for 12 years, bro. You just have to, you cannot give a damn what, to this day, people try convincing me I can't do things on my car. Number 2, document everything. Dude, take photos, take videos. And it's not just a document like, oh, these are the parts. This is where they go. Like taking a picture of before you start taking things apart, which is extremely important. Take pictures before you take things apart. Take as many photos as possible. If you think you took too many, take 5 more. All right? If you think you took too many, take 5 more from unique angles you didn't think were there. But also the joy of being able to document everything. If you look at my first video, bro, I think I was like 23. What is up, everybody? Welcome to my channel. It's your boy Ish with the bearded E30, and I got some exciting parts. If you look at my first video, bro, I was 23 and I was doing the power steering rack on the E30. I was installing the Z3 power steering rack onto it. And at that moment, I recorded with my phone and I regretted not taking photos and videos prior. Like, I regretted not starting a YouTube page and just like uploading when I can and learning how to do all that stuff prior to that moment. But then, you know, life kind of got in the way. Life tossed some difficulties and some difficult experiences towards my my path. And I decided to say, screw it. I'm just going to start recording this and documenting this despite what people say. Number 3, bro. Listen, hold on. Listen, I got to take a sip of my Shop and Right. This is not sponsored. Shop and Right branded Diet Cola. Don't be buying Coca-Cola, dude. Get real with it. All right. Oh, yeah. Number 3. Dude, don't be afraid to break things.
Occupation. What does occupation mean? I'm dead ass.
Your occupation? What do you do for work?
What I do for work?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm Pablo Escobar.
Oh!
Keep going.
Do you realize how many things I broke on my car? How many tools, how many nuts, how many bolts, how many parts that, you know, cost $250? How many things I over torqued and ended up stripping out? How many things are still broken to this day that I know has to get addressed at some point, and it's not a big deal because it's not a drivability or reliability issue? Do you know how many things I've broken? I've broken more things than I can remember. But that's just the learning experience. That is what it's like to own any kind of project. If you're afraid to break things in life in general, if you're afraid to do something that will put you in a state of vulnerability, or will put you in a state where something can be broken and irreparable, or put you in a state where it's broken and it has to be addressed, you're never going to grow.
Well, no fucking shit.
People break. I've broken in life. I've dealt with things and I grew. What do you think is going to happen, dude? How do you think life goes on? 12 years of ownership taught me a lot. You tend to think a lot when you're, you know, arms deep in an engine bay installing headers for the next 4 hours. And in those moments, you just think to yourself, like, this is life. This is life. Things break, you fix them. You address things as they come, not as you wanted them to come. have a plan in mind and it doesn't quite get executed on the timeline. It took 7 years for me to finally have the car safe enough to register and insure. And then it was in 2025 when I finally was able to paint the car. 11 years it took for me to get my car from rust bucket to where it's at. And you don't think I broke anything in the meantime? You don't think I think my power steering pump is still shot? Like, you don't think I broke anything while I was on track? This is life. Things are going to break. And this is where I get into the environment that you're in. You can't be influenced by these people. You can't be influenced by the people around you telling you you're going to break something. Listen, bro, half of these people broke their marriages. Half of these people broke their kids', mental health. Half of these people broke relationships off that were healthy. Half of these people are broke. Like, financially, they're ruined. And here's the one thing, despite what everybody tells me, rolling into number four is this car taught me financial responsibility. I'm being 110% with you right now. This car taught me financial responsibility because I had to be able to budget. Being a college student, working part-time, and in the process of building a race car, and being patient with how long it's going to take due to my income. Granted, when you're in your 20s, you could take your entire, tax refund and just get some nice parts.
Dicks.
Nigga, I won't never change, bro.
But when you're in your 20s and you're broke, you don't really have that much money to work with to begin with, and you still do have some things that need to get taken care of. So for me, it taught me, because I never was the type of person, and this is not the mentality I think anybody should approach building a car with, which is like go broke or go home. Like, if you make $400 in a week, you're gonna pour $450 into this thing. No. If you make $400 a week, save up $150 every week for the car. That's it. You're not spending more than you got, and you're not gonna spend more than 50% of what you got, depending on what needs to get done. That's the financial responsibility that my car taught me, which is why some people were surprised when, like, the car got painted out of nowhere. Well, it's because I spent the past 6 months putting money aside for it. The past 8 months putting money aside for it. People were surprised when I just, like, rolled up one day with coilovers. That, where'd you get, like, well, I spent months saving for it. People will think like you're pouring all your money into this, but in reality, you just learn to get smart with what you got. You learn to flip a few things to make a couple $100. You learn to maybe, offer a service to people to make some extra money. Like, you start to learn to be savvy, because you don't want to be that kind of guy or gal that sits there and goes like, if only I made more money, I'd have this and I have that. You learn two things, either to budget properly or to make more bread and still budget properly. Because especially as you enter your 30s, as somebody who's 31, I'm so glad genuinely, bro, I'm so glad I didn't go into credit card debt for this thing. Some people will walk up to you and be like, you spent, they'll make up numbers in your head. This is what I mean. You can't listen to people, bro. People will make up numbers in their head. People will walk up to you and be like, you spent $15,000 on this and it's not even painted. Like, are you stupid? Are you asinine? Are you insane? Do you have two brain cells fighting for third place to think that this is how life works? That in the realm of the reality that we live in this three-dimensional world with the way the universe functions and how God puts systems in place, you think I spent $15,000 on a car in 2018? 2018, I spent 15 grand. Where did you get this number from? That's what I mean.
I feel it coming down my throat. Guess I better wash my mouth.
People will make assumptions about you. People will be haters. People will try to talk you out of it. I've talked people out of project cars. I've told people straight up, your car's too far gone. Like, the damage that I had, the rust that I had, and the rust that you have are two complete different animals. Get rid of this thing. And people didn't believe me until, like, I kind of put my hands on it and I show them how bad it is. And I'm like, yo, like, this is dangerous to drive. Like, my rust was on the floor pan, not on the frame, not on the frame rails, not on the chassis, not on anything like that. Like, it was on the floor and it stopped at a certain point. Yours is corroded. Like the front half is going to fall apart. Pinch welds are shot. Everything is shot. So I've talked some people out of, building a car because of safety, but I've never talked anybody out of building a car because they spent an imaginary figure I made up in my head in 2018. So it will teach you financial responsibility. You will learn, what's worth it, what's not worth it. You'll learn that all the fancy billet aluminum parts are really not worth it, and half the time they're from Alibaba. And you'll genuinely, you will become smarter and wiser with what you do with the cash in your pocket. You learn impulse control. Number 5, learning to accept defeat when things don't go my way.
One more time.
This was a tough lesson to accept, especially at the time when I was really starting to work on the car. It wasn't an easy time in my life. I was going through it with mentally, I was going through it physically, I was going through it. I couldn't sleep at night. I was dealing with so many issues at the time, bro. I was struggling to accept defeat, learning to just accept it. The last thing that I crashed out on, genuinely, where I crashed out, was I snapped something in my engine, and I crashed out, and I walked away. Eventually I walked away after crashing out, and then I came back, and I removed it with my fingers. It just came out with my fingers, and I looked at myself. I'm like, I need to accept defeat. I need to accept it with grace. I need to, when something breaks, I need to just be give myself 2 options: stick with it or walk away. Learning to accept things as they are is very difficult for a lot of people, because I'll be honest with you, especially as us young men, especially when I was a much younger man, you don't have a lot of people that'll teach you how to do that. We live in an all for nothing, you go out in a blaze of glory, either you win or you suck mentality world. You need to be the top of it. You can never accept defeat. You can never accept that something broke. You can never accept that you lost that day. You can't accept it with grace. You got to get mad. I need it. No. Learn to calm your dumb ass down. Stop being an idiot. That's what it taught me. It taught me you got to stop being a hot-headed freaking idiot. Because life is not going to be going your way. That's not the nature of this world. You're not always going to be a winner. You could put 250%, the next guy will put 25% into it, and he comes out with a better outcome than you. This is what I'm saying. A lot of people kind of take cars when they're talking about working on them to some weird sensual intimate level, to the point where you're questioning if this guy is making love to the damn thing. Working on your car, working on a project, taking on something that's really difficult, it'll teach you things. Especially if you look at it, because everything is deep in life, bro. Everything has a certain level of depth. And in my 12 years of ownership of the same car, the levels of depth changed every month. Every time I touched the wrench. Every time I went towards the car, I was in a different state of mind. Every year that I worked on the car, I was a different individual. When I first bought the car versus when I started really working on it heavy, versus when I started drifting it, versus now, when I took my 3-year break because, what was going on in Gaza, every version of me in those moments were different. And people take that away from you. When you're listening to these, I want to say baseline level mentality people, they will try to strip that away from you. You have to understand, taking on a project in general is a life-changing endeavor. You take on a project from start to finish. If you're a parent and your child decides to take on a project from start to finish, you shut your damn mouth. Don't say anything. I don't care if you don't support them. I don't care if you walk into the garage and just nod your head. Just don't acknowledge it if you don't got nothing nice to say, because that kid underwent something that the majority of kids nowadays don't, which is a challenge. The majority of people are too comfortable with being in comfort. Convenience has killed curiosity. And we're not even going to talk about, I'm not here to criticize the new generation, because it's the previous generation that put these apps and systems and and processes all in place that kind of screw these kids over. So if your kid approaches something which is difficult, let them explore. Let them figure out that this was a bad idea. Let them find out that this wasn't worth it. Let them find out they don't like that hobby. And I've seen parents crash out about this over anything. I've seen parents crash out over this about their kids wanting to get into the gym, dude. The gym. We're not even talking about something that's $35 a month for your health. The gym. So that's the one thing you got to understand. Nobody will ever be happy with you. You just got to do what makes sense to you. That wraps up into a bonus point, which is to keep the vision alive. When you're taking on when I took on this project car, I thought it was going to be a year and a half. And the car was going to be ready. It was going to be sick. It turned into 7 years before I could drive the thing, dog. 7 years. I don't think you realize the amount of headaches I dealt with weekly from just everybody on the face of existence. But you know what was really worth it? At 7 years and 1 day, when the car started and it drove, at year 8 or 8.5, when I swapped it, everybody doubted I was going to be able to swap it. So many people, like there is this guy that kept coming over, and everybody, a few people were talking smack, but he saw me working on it little by little by little by little, and he just kind of watched. My pop's friend, some other people, some other of his friends were like, "Oh, you're making a mistake." His one friend, he came over, saw the car on jack stands, came back. He asked me, he's like, "What are you doing now?" I'm like, "Well, I gotta connect this. He came back 2-3 weeks later, and the car was on the floor starting, and I was bleeding the cooling system. And he was like, "Yo, he's like, I can't believe you did this." He was shocked. He was congratulating me. He was like, "Wow, I don't think you realize what you did. You really did this. You really keep on building this thing. You took this thing from the ground up. You put something that, traditionally does not go in there. You bought the wiring harness, but you did everything else." I'm like, "Yeah, you gotta keep pushing." My pops was like, he's just throwing stuff at it. He's like, and his friend took him to the back and explained to him, "Dude, you don't realize how many people don't see projects through. So don't lose the vision. Don't lose the vision, bro." When everybody quieted down? Genuinely, you want to know when everybody quieted it down? When the car got painted. That's when everybody shut their mouths. That's when the haters kind of doubled down, and they were like, "Look at him. Look at him. Yeah. You can't listen to those people. You just got to keep it pushing." And another bonus point, if I was to do it all over again, I wouldn't do an E30. I'm not going to lie. I wouldn't do an E30. What I would do will be covered in next week episodes in chassis that I think are underrated for drifting. That's what I would do. But to give you one, it would be an SN95 Mustang. I would drift one of those things in a heartbeat. If I could do it all over again, I'd get a Mustang. Rear-wheel drive, solid axle, easy to work on. Parts are everywhere. I don't got to worry about FCP Euro. I don't got to worry about this AutoZone or that Advanced Auto or that O'Reilly not having a parts. You could get parts everywhere, and the parts are dirt cheap. And if you blow a motor, you don't, you can find them anywhere. So I would do an SN95 Mustang if I could do it over again. That's one of my many options, which I will cover next week. So stay tuned for that.
Just wanted to boy.
At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, people will always talk crap. People will always be in your face. People will always have a point of criticism, especially the people closest to you. I was telling somebody close to me, I got to install the 3-inch exhaust on my car. I got to just do X, Y, Z. You can't do that on the floor. You can't build. And I looked at him. I'm like, dude, I started laughing. I'm like, how many times do you think I've been told? I was told I can't do college. I was told I wasn't smart enough to go into engineering. I was told I wasn't smart enough to start going to school for engineering. I was told I wasn't smart enough to learn this level of mathematics. Do you think I'm going to freaking listen to you? When I first bought the car, everybody told me I was going to fail at it. I wasn't going to be able to do it. I wasn't going to be able to build a car. I wasn't ever going to be able to finish it. People will always talk smack, bro. When you take on a project car, understand there is, depending on the level at which the car is damaged. You will either learn all of these lessons in depth, but you will learn all of these lessons regardless. Like, this is what you're taking on. You're going to have to learn financial responsibility. You're going to have to learn patience. You're going to have to learn how to accept defeat at 1 in the morning when that last bolt snaps. And you're going to have to learn how to take it with grace and go to bed at night and just not let it bother you. Like, not give a damn. Be like, I approach it tomorrow morning. Because these type of lessons, especially when they're taken at heart, many people will confuse them, especially when you get into a job with like somebody that doesn't care. But an experienced eye will know that this is a person who's been trained in dealing with defeat and accepting it with grace and understanding that freaking out does jack all. So that's what you're going to learn in life. With that, I appreciate y'all. I love y'all for coming to my video today. If I could hug y'all, if I could hug all 163 of my subscribers, which we've hit recently, I would hug every single one of you. And I would hold you in my arms. And I would tell you, you matter. And you're a beautiful individual. If you haven't subscribed, I would hold my arms out to you. And I'd give you a nice big hug as well. So with that, before it gets too weird, I love you. Remember to share this with everybody, including your grandma, your aunt, your 2-year-old cousin, your 1-year-old cousin, your 5-year-old cousin, your 15-year-old cousin, your cousin that just got into cars, your cousin that just left cars, your auntie that hates cars, your uncle that has 17 cars, your uncle that wants to get into cars, the guy down the street that always says he has a 750,000 horsepower Supra, but never has any photos of it. Send this to everybody. And remember, hug your kids, hug your significant other, kiss your mammy and your poppy on the cheek. Go to your grandmother and your grandfather, kiss them on the forehead and tell them you love them. And get this shmoney, get this bread, dog. Assalamu alaikum.